Chapter 2. Breaking Reading Barriers. So you've decided to probe the world of reading. You're pumped, you've got your book, maybe even a cup of tea, and then, boom! Distractions hit you from left, right, and center. Your phone buzzes, your neighbor's generator starts roaring, or the suya man passes by with that unmistakable aroma. Before you know it, the book is abandoned, and you're back to scrolling Instagram or watching TikTok videos of cats doing backflips. Here's the kicker. Those content creators, they're cashing in on every second you spend glued to your screen. Why? Because they've studied you. They know exactly what hooks you. Your love for quirky videos, memes, and endless entertainment. While you're giving up precious reading time, they're turning your attention into their paycheck. Smart, right? Maybe even too smart. However, here's the thing. Why not flip the script? Take a page from their book and invest your time in reading, where the returns are all yours. Now, that's wisdom. Yeah, relax. You're not alone. Developing a consistent reading habit isn't beans, especially in our hustle-driven, always connected society. But guess what? It's not impossible either. In this chapter, we'll tackle the wahala of reading head-on. From time constraints to mind-numbing distractions, we'll examine how to overcome the hurdles keeping you from your reading goals. At the end of this chapter, you'll not only understand why reading feels like a struggle, but also how to make it as natural as ordering amala and gabagiri at your favorite restaurant. No more excuses. Let's make reading work for you. Understanding why reading feels challenging. For many of us, reading feels like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro without shoes. You start with good intentions, a fresh book, a comfy chair, but 10 minutes in, your mind is already plotting how to just check something small on your phone. You've fallen down the rabbit hole of viral videos and trending hashtags in a moment. Why does this happen? Why does reading feel like a struggle, even when we know it's good for us? The answer lies in a combination of factors, some external and others deeply personal. Let's break it down. The distraction epidemic. Welcome to the age of notifications. Your phone is probably buzzing as you read this. Between Instagram, WhatsApp, and breaking news alerts, who can focus? It's like trying to read a book in Balogan Market during peak hours. Chaotic and impossible, right? Technology, for all its wonders, has trained our brains to crave instant gratification, making the slow and deliberate act of reading feel like a chore. Lack of time, or so we think. I know get time, you say. However, let's analyze this. How much time do you spend daily scrolling social media, binge-watching series, or gisting about the latest celebrity drama? You probably are guilty of this. It's not that you don't have time. It's that reading isn't high on your priority list. Let's be honest, choosing to read over some sweet Nollywood drama takes discipline, but it's worth it. The myth of the perfect reader. Another reason you struggle is the false belief that you need to be some kind of reading guru to enjoy books. You imagine those book people with their oversized glasses, sipping tea and discussing Fyodor Dostoevsky. Newsflash. There's no one way to be a reader. Whether you're devouring romance novels, skimming through blogs, or listening to audiobooks in traffic, you're reading. Give yourself a break. Overwhelmed by choices. Ever walked into a bookshop and felt like you were drowning in options? Fiction, non-fiction, self-help, biographies. It's like trying to pick pepper soup from a buffet where everything smells amazing. The sheer number of books out there can be paralyzing. You don't know where to start, so you don't start at all. Cultural norms and expectations. Let's talk about society for a minute. In many parts of Africa, reading is often seen as an academic thing rather than a lifestyle. If you're not reading to pass exams or gain certificates, people wonder what you're doing with your time. This mindset makes it harder to embrace reading as a form of leisure or self-improvement. The good news. Here's the gist. Struggling with reading doesn't mean you're lazy or unmotivated. It just means you need a new approach, one that fits your lifestyle and takes the pressure off. In the sections that follow, We'll tackle these challenges one by one, offering practical tips to make reading as enjoyable as munching on Puff Puff at a party. Stay tuned, we're just getting started. Ever feel like reading is harder than dodging traffic? You're not alone. With phones buzzing like Okada horns and endless Nollywood drama pulling your attention, distractions are the real culprits. However, here's the twist. Just 15 minutes of focused reading daily can transform your mental stamina and make picking up a book feel as satisfying as munching Puff Puff at a party. The African perspective on reading. Oh, Africa. The land of vibrant cultures, spicy jollof wars, blessed with extraordinary people and natural resources, with a unique relationship with books. Someone said, if you needed to hide a thing from Africans, you would succeed by placing it in a book. Could this assertion be true? But truth be told, reading isn't exactly our first love. For many, it's more of an acquaintance, the kind you nod at politely during meetings, but never really connect with. Why is this so? Why does reading sometimes feel as foreign as snow in Abuja? Cultural norms. Reading for survival, not pleasure. Growing up in Nigeria, books are often introduced as tools for one purpose: to pass exams. Why are you even reading if you're not cramming textbooks to ace WAEC or JAMB? Many of us were taught to read for grades, not growth. It's no wonder that once school is over, books become as forgotten as last season of Gulda Ultimate Search. I remember they used to tell us in secondary school that reading and getting good grades are equal to a good job and success in life. What an illusion. So many of our adults never live up to this dream. Hence they resultantly give up on reading. Here is the thing. Reading isn't cast a stone or a one-off thing. It's a lifestyle. Thus, until it becomes a habit from birth till the end of life, chances are you will never partake of the luxuries it brings. No matter where you are or your achievement, you couldn't have read enough. We no day graduate from reading. The busy life. Excuse. In our beloved continent, life can be a full-time hustle. Between dodging traffic, managing side hustle, and trying to survive the ever-changing economy, who has time to sit down and read? Picking up a book often feels like a luxury reserved for people who have already arrived. The cost of knowledge. Let's talk money. Books no be Gary. The price of a good book these days can rival the cost of a decent meal at your favorite restaurant, or even at home. When survival is the priority, spending money on books feels like a stretch for many families. This economic barrier means fewer people grow up with access to books, and the cycle continues. Libraries, the ghost towns of literacy. Remember when we used to hear about libraries, those magical places where knowledge lived. Sadly, in many parts of Africa, libraries have become more like ghost towns. The few that remain are often poorly stocked or inaccessible. If you want to read, you're more likely to rely on borrowed books or, if you're opportune, digital resources. The rise of social media versus books now. Let's not even pretend. Social media has given books serious competition. Why pick up a 300-page novel when you can scroll through 30 memes in 30 seconds? Platforms like Instagram and TikTok are entertaining, but they also train our brains to crave instant pleasure. Books, on the other hand, demand patience, focus, and time, qualities that are harder to come by in today's fast-paced world. The beauty in our struggles. Despite all these challenges, there's beauty in the African experience with reading. Our stories, our struggles, and our unique perspectives add depth to the way we consume and interpret books. When we do read, we bring our vibrant cultures and lived experiences into the process, making every book more meaningful. What we can do, the solution isn't to beat ourselves up about the challenges. Instead, we need to find ways to make reading more accessible and relevant. Maybe it's starting small with short stories or investing in community libraries. Maybe it's sharing books within our circles or using technology to bridge the gap. Whatever it is, the first step is acknowledging that reading isn't just for book people, it's for all of us. When we read, We don't just improve ourselves, we uplift our communities and rewrite the narrative for future generations. However, if that's not worth flipping a few pages for, I don't know what is. Reading is the gateway skill that makes all other learning possible. Barack Obama. Dispelling myths and common pitfalls. You sure know how we like to cook up stories? No, not the spicy gist kind, but those convenient excuses we tell ourselves to avoid doing something. When it comes to reading, there are myths and pitfalls so popular you'd think they were Nollywood blockbusters. Let's burst some bubbles, shall we? Myth 1. I don't have time to read. Ah, the classic. You're busy, I'm busy, we're all busy. Nonetheless, let's break it down. Time management. If you can spend 30 minutes arguing about Messi versus Ronaldo or watching one episode of your favorite series, you can carve out time to read. Reading doesn't demand hours of your day. Even 15 minutes here and there adds up. Remember, it's not about finding time, it's about making time. That makes sense, right? Myth 2. Books are too expensive. Some books will make your wallet cry, but reading doesn't have to bankrupt you. Have you ever heard of public libraries, the few that still exist? Or ebooks? And let's not forget Friends, the ultimate plug for borrowing books. If you really want to read, you'll find a way. I beg, no use, no money, as an excuse. Pitfall 1. The one book syndrome. You've seen it before. Someone starts one book and won't touch another until they finish it. Months later, the book is still staring at them, gathering dust. Reading isn't a one-size-fits-all journey. If a book isn't working for you, drop it and pick another one. Life's too short to force yourself through boring chapters. Pitfall 2. Reading for the wrong reasons. Some people read just to appear smart or to impress others. You know them, the ones dropping big grammar anyhow in conversations. However, reading isn't about forming levels, it's about growing and enjoying the process. Read for you, not for clout. Myth 3. Only big books count. Who started this nonsense? Whether it's a novel or a short article, every form of reading matters. It's not about the length, it's about the value you get. Even that cooking recipe you've been Googling counts. You're learning, after all. Pitfall 3. Getting distracted. Easily. Let's not pretend here. You sit down to read and 5 minutes later, you're checking WhatsApp statuses or Instagram reels. Solution? Turn off your notifications, find a quiet spot, and focus. Discipline is key, my people. Let's wrap it up. These myths are pitfalls. They're like potholes on the reading highway. They slow you down, but they don't have to stop you. The key is to recognize them for what they are. Excuses and habits that can be overcome. Once you start busting these myths and sidestepping the pitfalls, you'll find that reading becomes less of a struggle and more of a joyride. So, dust off that book and show it who's boss. Did you know? The price of a single book can rival a meal, but the knowledge it contains can feed your mind for a lifetime. Libraries, ebooks, and borrowing from friends are untapped treasures, proving that reading doesn't have to break the bank. It just requires creativity and a thirst for learning. Common challenges and how to overcome them. Let's do some analogies. Reading feels like a fight sometimes. Not UFC or WWE SmackDown, but more like trying to climb a steep hill with slippers that keep slipping. You want to read, but somehow life keeps throwing curveballs. Well, it's time to assess those obstacles and learn how to tackle them like a pro. Obstacle 1. The noise factor. Living in Nigeria means noise is practically your roommate. From the generator humming like it's on steroids, to the neighbor's children testing the limits of their vocal cords, finding peace to read can feel like a myth. Nonetheless, here's the gist. Noise is not your enemy. Distraction is. Solution: create your oasis. Invest in noise-cancelling headphones or find a quiet corner during less busy times. Even that 10 minutes of peace in the early morning can be gold for your reading goals. When I first read the book, Recreating Your World, my mind was opened to the understanding of how you can make gold out of the sand. Do you know that every problem has the seed of its solution embedded in it? No impossible dreams ever came to the world. If you can imagine the solution, you can solve it. Reading helps you fine-tune your imaginative power to proffer solutions to any problems. The ultimate question is, are you ready to make reading a lifelong habit? If you can imagine the solution to a problem, you are on your way to solving it. Your imaginative power is your creative ability, by Reverend Chris Oyakhilome. Obstacle 2. The I'm too tired syndrome. After a long day of hustling, the last thing on your mind is cracking open a book. All you want to do is crash on your bed and let Netflix lull you to sleep. Nevertheless, wait. What if reading could help you relax? Imagine swapping endless scrolling for a few pages of a calming book. Your brain will thank you. Solution. Start small. Read short, engaging content before bed. It could be a chapter, a poem, or even an article. The key is consistency, not volume. Obstacle 3. Lack of access to books. Books can be pricey, and libraries aren't always within reach. We've already discussed this, but it's worth repeating. Access shouldn't be a deal breaker. Knowledge is everywhere if you know where to look. Solution. Go digital. Free ebooks, online libraries, and book-sharing platforms are your friends. Don't underestimate the power of your phone as a gateway to a world of stories and ideas. Obstacle 4. Books are boring. Mentality. Let's address the elephant in the room. Not every book will vibe with you. Well, that's okay. But to say all books are boring is like saying all jollof rice tastes the same. Maybe you just haven't found your flavor yet. Solution. Experiment with different genres until you find your jam. Love drama. Try fiction. Into making money? Go for business books. Start with topics that genuinely interest you and watch how reading transforms from meh to magic. Obstacle 5. Time management. This one is a classic. You look at your schedule and think, where will I even fix reading? Between work, chores, and gisting, time seems like a luxury. You exclaimed, you'd be like say I no go fit red o. Solution. Make reading part of your routine. Carry a book with you and read in small pockets of time, during lunch breaks, in transit, if you're not the one driving or even while waiting for appointments. A few minutes here and there can add up to hours of reading. Overcoming the odds. The beauty of tackling reading obstacles is that every little step counts. Start where you are, use what you have, and keep moving forward. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. So, dust off that book, flip the first page, and let's keep this reading journey alive. What if I told you? The noise that feels like your worst enemy could be the key to mastering focus. With tools like noise-cancelling headphones or a quiet early morning routine, you can turn chaos into calm and discover that even amidst distractions, the world of reading is just a page away. Your imagination, after all, is your greatest tool for creating solutions. Strategies for success. Building a reading plan. So, you've tackled the obstacles and burst a few myths. Now it's time to get practical. Building a reading plan is like planning a wedding, minus the ASO-EBI drama. You need structure, creativity, and a touch of discipline to make it work. Don't worry. This plan isn't about turning you into a reading robot. It's about helping you read smarter, not harder. Start with your goals. First things first, why do you want to read? Is it to grow your career, discover new ideas, or simply escape the wahala of daily life? Knowing your why will guide your reading choices. For instance, if you're job hunting, pick books on personal branding or interview tips. If it's self-care, find books that calm your mind and inspire your spirit. No time for randomness. Your goals are the compass. Create a reading schedule. Let's move further. If you leave reading to chance, chances are you won't read. Plan it. Slot it into your daily routine like you do with food or Netflix. Mornings, lunch breaks, or right before bed are perfect slots. A few minutes daily can make a huge difference. To stay productive, capital No. 2. I'll read when I have time. This doesn't count. Make the time. Make it fun. Reading doesn't have to feel like school punishment. Gamify it. Set mini goals like finishing a chapter a day or rewarding yourself after completing a book. Treat it like a personal challenge. If you're however competitive, start a Who Reads More contest with friends. Just make sure they're not cheating with audiobooks. Curate your reading list. Don't just read anything. Curate your list with books that excite you. Start with bestsellers, recommendations from trusted friends, or genres you're curious about. Mix it up. Fiction for fun, non-fiction for growth, and maybe a memoir for inspiration. Besides, don't forget to sneak in some Nigerian classics. After all, we have some of the richest literary treasures in the world. Track your progress. Humans love progress. Keep a log of what you've read, what you're reading, and what's next. It could be a fancy journal, an app, or even a note on your phone. Seeing how far you've come will motivate you to keep going. Plus, it's fun to look back and say, wow, I read all that. Celebrate your wins, finished a book. Clap for yourself. It's not easy in this busy world. Share your excitement on social media or gist about it with friends. Who knows? You might inspire someone else to pick up a book too. Just remember that small wins lead to big changes. Wow. Pat yourself on the back and whisper, well done to have come this far. In this chapter, we examined why reading feels like a struggle, especially in the African context. We addressed the distractions, myths, and societal norms that often hold us back. Then, we provided practical strategies to overcome these challenges, from managing time better to making reading a fun and enriching habit. With a solid plan, reading no longer feels like a chore, but an exciting journey. Now that you've got your reading plan sorted, it's time to discover the art of cultivating a reading habit that sticks. In Chapter 3, we'll venture into how to design the perfect reading environment, balance your genres, and even gamify your experience. Get ready to transform reading into something you look forward to, like your favorite jollof rice. Also, you'll be handed tips to help you read faster and retain more. So, get ready. Let's ride along.